And as soon as you pop that link up, I'll post it to our Discord as well.
Yep. We seem to be streaming, maybe. Yes, we seem to be streaming. This is always a surprise because it's always a surprise. And I am getting you the link right now. Boom. Uh, I could probably mess up a glass of water tonight.
Oh.
There we go. All right. So, welcome, greetings, salutations, all of the above and everything below. I'm seeing live video. There's people swinging in chairs. I have several animals looking to kick my ass for ignoring them. However, until that point, we are live. Welcome, folks, to the Galaxy's Edge podcast, where people should silence their phones and other annoying habits. My name is Walt, and somehow, some way, somebody gave me a keys to the MRAP so that I could throw all these gentlemen in and talk about our favorite property, Galaxy's Edge. We have a cavalcade, a live roundtable of glorious misfits. And I am so excited for tonight because we're talking Nether Ops with Mr. Richard Fox. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Oh, we can't thank you enough. I was so excited. I know a lot of people are excited about this, so I can't wait to get down to it and see what trouble and see how dirty we can get our hands, because everybody knows Nether Ops is about the dirt. Going around the table, we have Matt, our frequent co-host. How are you?
How you going? Yeah, good mate. How you going?
We're going to at some point get those the like one of those like ticker tapes that goes like on the bottom so that every time he talks we can translate. We have Daniel. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How about you?
It doesn't match. I have one guy I can't understand. I have another guy that and our featured insider tonight, we have Dark Ops Cozy. How are you, sir?
How's it going?
Chillin', living like I stole it. So to get things rolling, let's get into the nitty gritty with the boys of Discord. What's been going on in the channel this week?
You got it,
Honestly,
Matt.
I've been away a little bit. Work has been an absolute shitter. But what I've seen, it looks like you're So I guess I've been away for a while, so I haven't really been watching much of it. But mate, it looks like your actual general book talk and recommendations has been pretty on fire lately, as well as season 1 and contracts and terminations channels. They're the ones I've seen most activity in, excluding Afterlife, of course, our favorite channel. But we won't go there. Yeah. So I've been in and out from work, mate. So I unfortunately haven't seen too much in those areas.
Yeah, contracts and terminations has definitely been active with most recent book, Madame Guillotine. A lot of people are. It's interesting. It's kind of like on the fence. A lot of people are like, "Yeah, it's great," and then some people are like, "Politics," and it's just like, "Yeah, that's just kind of the territory."
Yeah, but it's got a dog.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I'm. Let me see where I'm at. I think I'm about halfway, a little bit over halfway, and so I've listened to Balder. Yeah, I've got like 4 hours left in this, and I'm just like, oh, Balder, he's the goodest of boys. Listening to him talk and how he's like, oh,
and there he is, right there.
Your pack is not well. It's like,
Right.
oh.
Oh my God! Whenever they said that they were going to Tuckerize my dog, it was like, really? That's fantastic. So Nick had called up and said, "Hey, can you send me like some of the stuff you used to do with like your military dog, and also can you give me some information on the breed?" I was like, "I got you, fam." And we cross-loaded all that stuff. And the thing that everybody always says is they can't believe like how high these damn dogs jump. So it's just it's really a lot of fun. So yeah, very, very cool. Do we have a featured channel this week? Is it going to be like the book talk?
I would say it's been the book talk, but there's also been a lot of talk in the gaming and entertainment channel. They're trying to get together and do some gaming group stuff. I think November? I think this weekend they're going to be doing the D&D,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's starting Saturday night.
Yeah. and so you might be getting a recorded show of that.
Really?
Well, yeah.
That's pretty cool. You can never have enough tabletop gaming.
Cozy, do you happen to be in that D&D group?
I am not. Just don't have the time available. Unfortunately, wish I did, but what
Stuff
you do?
stuff happens. Rich, are you ever gamed? You ever do tabletop role playing game stuff?
Oh, in college, and that was the last time I really had a chance. Which was nigh on 20 years ago now. So.
Dear Lord, what was the game of choice?
It was D&D. I think it was 3.5.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, I mean, and then I did Warhammer 40K a little bit after that, but that was just with the miniatures.
Gotcha.
And not so much the role play.
I gotcha.
Well, I just had an idea.
Oh no.
All right, what
This
if we
never
get
goes
all
well.
the authors to do Galaxy's Edge D&D group?
Well, I know Nick would be into that because.
Oh yeah, Nick would be all over that.
Yeah, I think from what they tell me, he's got like one of those. He's got an IV line like straight to his brain where they just tap D&D into it periodically. So, but I think, and because this is pretty much just going to the insiders, we can say that he is close to complete of working with. Role-playing game industry great Jim Ward in finishing up Forgotten Ruin, which is their role-playing game, and it's just, oh my god, it's glorious. Just the art alone was just like, ooh, gives you the shivers and the tingles. Speaking of shivers and tingles, we have a dark ops featured insider chosen by our wonderful Discord moderators. So, what's on your wanted poster there, Mr. Cozy? Who are you and what makes you famous?
Well,
Call signs are fine if you don't want to give real names. That's cool.
To protect the innocent or
if I
something.
tell you, I'd have to kill you.
Nice. Exactly
That's
what we would
violent.
expect. My man. So go ahead. What do you got?
Doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. A little medic, a little civilian medic for clarification. And then transferring on over to electrical engineering. So it's a difference, but there's a lot of overlap that you can see from one to the other.
And of course, if your
defibrillators.
AED goes down, you can pull out a power cord, shock the hell out of
That's one way to
somebody.
do it. Just gotta figure out how much resistance and how much is joules.
Yeah, there you go. How'd you get into Galaxy's Edge?
It started off along with many others, scrolling through Facebook one day, and came across an ad for X-Force, and then followed up by one for Galaxy's Edge. So start off with again X-Force, since at that time that was what was highly recommended. Just scrolling through comments on both, and hearing Mr. Bray do his piece. Oh, this is pretty good. How about let's try Legionnaire? And from there, here I am. And much and all.
Nice. I like how it fits over the headset. That's fantastic. Do you have a favorite book? Well, before we go there, have you read them all?
Everything that has been published, yes, and then some.
Ooh, and then some. We like that. What's your favorite book so far?
That is out or total?
Hit me. You dealer's choice, brother.
Gonna have to go with the latest Tyrus X book.
Really? It was the dog, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was
close. The dog did have a big impact. Gotta love them animals. But it was seeing how some of the political figures were trying to manipulate people in the background without being known to the general public. That was quite interesting to me. But at the same time, a lot of similarities from how the smile doesn't reach the eyes, or things along that line. I see with much to do in today's climate.
Right on.
And wondering if what happened in the book will come to pass in life, or kind of trying to see how it'll play out and envision what will happen if something happens to some of these leaders, or but
So you're thinking we should sick Tyrus Rex on him?
I'm not saying that.
But he's not saying it either.
Yes, yes. I felt the trepidation, but the quiver of excitement. Very, very nice. So what are you looking forward to in the upcoming season of Galaxy's Edge, and do you have any predictions about season 2?
I really liked the Takeover series and how seeing the lead up from end of Retribution to beginning of season 2. The last chapter in Takeover was so that's how it's connecting. I don't want to give things away for those that haven't gone through, but it's well connected.
Nice. Nice. Well, season 2 is pretty much on the horizon. Did you get to read the newsletter where they put a big chunk of the prologue into that?
Yes, I have, and I'm gonna do a review. It's been a minute, but it was awesome.
Right on. Hell yeah. Yeah, it was good. I was like, oh yeah, now we're talking, singing my language. So with that being said, if we want to go around the table real quick, how about starting with our esteemed guest? How about some predictions for season 2, or maybe some insights? What do you see on the horizon, or maybe because Rich, you get to see these guys and talk to these guys on a regular basis. Have they given you any secrets that you'd like to whisper to nobody in particular? We promise we won't tell.
I used to be a military intelligence officer, and generally when somebody says "Don't tell no one," that's not true out there. But just sometimes people make the mistake that they tell me something and they don't say "Don't tell no one." And well, okay then. You obviously want me to tell the right people, but no. Jason and Nick have. I'm going to see Jason this next week. He's coming to Vegas for the 20 Books at 50K conference, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Right on.
And then next weekend, I'm going to LA and I'm meet up with Nick while I'm there. So if you ask me this next week, I might have more. We'll see.
Is that a promise to come on the show again?
I don't know. If you make that what was the word? Critical information requirement, I think we called it back then. I'll see what I can do. But then again, if Jason Nick say, "Don't say nothing," I'd be like, so.
He'll be like, it'd be a cool rumor if this happened.
Yeah, they're like, aye. Yeah.
I'm not saying haven't. However, Tyrus Rex is
Oh my God, loose lips still sink ships, huh? Oh my goodness. How about it, Daniel? How about some predictions for season 2?
Like I said last time, it'll be interesting to see how Prisma develops. I kind of think there's a possibility she'll go like dark side kind of views, with Gostolos out of the way. But you never know. I mean, yeah, I'm excited about that, and definitely want to hear some more Wraith stuff. On to what Cozy said earlier about how he's reading and then some. Are you counting the Discord fan fictions and the fantastic fan fictions written by Barry and?
I have had to refrain from that for the time.
A little too steamy.
Yes, it did get a little hot.
Oh, yeah.
Discord every now and then, but what can you do?
Oh my God! Am
Yeah.
I gonna have
Bunch of
to?
guys together.
Am I gonna get in there and put the ban hammer down on people?
You can try.
I love that I have to try. That's fantastic.
You're cool, Walt, but you ain't Tyrus Rex.
You don't know that. How about it, Matt? Predictions for season 2?
Honestly, I'm excited for Earth. I love the fact that Earth in any series I read is this like mysterious homeworld that's lost or whatever. I want to see him go back there and hopefully see like a massive civilization, like a really massive army threatening everybody soon. I want to see that shit. It'd be mad.
Oh, so you think some like hyper advanced, maybe super like savages that never left Earth, or maybe parallel development?
Yeah, yeah, like because we know. I don't know really what's happening on Earth now, except for what I've read in Takeover and all that. But yeah, I reckon shit's gonna get real, mate.
That would be the light side of the Force. The thing I was like you guys. The thing I really enjoyed about the end of Takeover was that little tidbit at the end where it was like, boom, guess what? Earth, we're doing Earth, and you're just sitting there like, this is fantastic, because you're gonna have that connection with maybe like what's been happening on Earth. Did was there a reason Earth was cut off? But like some of the other things that we've been seeing and some of the other stories, I think we're going to be seeing more of the Tyrus Rex clones, just based on some of the other like comments that have been made and stories and stuff like that, and some of
Chasing Dragon stuff.
yeah. I mean, like look at the end of Savage Wars 2. They dropped one name in there that just blew my mind. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. This takes place, what, 1,500 years, 1,000 years before the main storyline? So that was, I think we could be seeing more dragon stuff. So I'm super stoked, especially if it happens in Sinasia, because, if we got more Shogun warriors, popping up and meching all over the place, I'd be a happy boy.
Mech suitors.
So before we get into the meat of the matter with our featured guest and talk about all things dark and sinister, Matt, you had a thing you wanted to pimp real quick as a service to some of our people out there. Yes.
Yes. I did mention it last time, a couple of weeks ago now, but in a week's time, so pretty much this time next weekend. For a charity, it's now 3 defense charities. Got Soldier On, Legacy Australia, and there's a bloke called Matt Williams who does tire flips. He has a tumor, and he's unfortunately going to pass away very shortly. Ex-infantry and top bloke, raising money for charity. So I'm going to be streaming all sorts of games and stuff, 24 hours straight, only with several 15-minute breaks. That's it. Just to I deployed last year, but I wasn't over the wire or anything like that. Just more show everyone that the boys do it tough over there, and that when they come home as well, they don't get a lot of support, unfortunately, as much as they say they do. They kind of get thrown into the lurch. So I want to raise awareness to that, because I've seen a lot of good mates of mine get absolutely shit on by it all, and it's pretty heartbreaking. So I want to do that, get some stuff going for it, and play all sorts of weird and random games, or even just do a long game of Elite Dangerous Squad or something like that. But yeah, all for charity. So,
and you'll have a tip cup on that, so people can drop in funds to donate to the charity.
I'm working on that at the moment. I've permanently disabled donations to me, but I want to set it up so it goes not to me, but to each of the charities, or whichever one of the 3 they choose.
Right on. I think make sure you also set up a tip cup for yourself, just so that in the event that on our 18 you need a Red Bull, we can drop some change in there for your Red Bull fund.
I'll consider it. I already got 12. That's 12 of them over there ready to go. So I'll consider it.
You're gonna put those in like a rapid fire grenade launcher and just chuck them.
Oh yeah, mate. I don't need to be white as all fuck.
So one of the things that worked for us when we were overseas is you take the instant coffee you get from the MRE pack and you put it under your gums like dip. Caffeine straight to the blood system, man.
You are a very evil man. You should not have put that
I like
online.
that. I mean,
you get a little jittery, and you'll never look at instant coffee the same way. But it gets the job done.
So what you're saying is I have to do that the whole stream. Just sit there with coffee like this guy.
And
Keep
instead of
pinging
having
at
to
the end,
throw it
going,
away,
"Oh."
you could drink your dip cup.
So Matt, are you going to be playing some more Great Rust like last night?
Okay, probably, but I won't be really drunk and I won't say things I shouldn't have said.
You say that now. Wait till hour 18.
I'm nursing a chronic hangover at the moment. That's why it's definitely not going to happen.
All right, so using the powers of my blunt force segue, we have brought out our featured guest because we need to talk about Nether Ops. We saw, we had that mixed reaction in Kill Team where, Tom Maydoun was just he was a sympathetic character, but at the same time you could tell there were elements in there and things going on where you're just like, ooh, that's cold, man, that's cold, but at the same time you wanted to know more, and with all of the events that happened in some of the back of the scenes, especially with X, there was always that taste in your mouth that you wanted to get just a little bit more, even though Nether Ops is bad for you. So, Richard, how did the book Through the Nether come in? Like, how did that start? How did that conversation start with Nick and Jason?
Yeah, it was Nick took me to pizza in LA.
Why is it? It's always over food with him. Donuts, pizza.
The man knows donuts, and the man knows pizza. All right, do not give him enough credit for this. All right. So I was having pizza with him and his wife Nicole, and he said, "Hey, how would you like to write some Galaxy's Edge?" I'm like, "Yeah, let me wait, see when my calendar opens up." And I'm like, well, "What do you have in mind?" He told me that we're going to do the kind of the Medal of Honor, the standalone stories, and we're going to bring some other people in. I'm like, "Okay." And so then I was read the first 2 books, and I said, "Okay, here." I got an idea for a story because I like spy novels. I was a military intelligence officer and in the intelligence community for 10 years. And writing that kind of a spy novel is kind of fun for me. But the thing is, that kind of story doesn't fit in the Ember Wars series that I write. I mean, I'll have spies in there, but having that kind of a deep espionage level story, it just doesn't fit in what I'm writing. So I'm like, okay, hey, it fits in what you guys are doing. So I talked with Nick and Jason. I said, let me write a spy novel. It's gonna be very James Bondish, and even with the length, it's gonna be very James Bondish. And they said, okay, fine, sure, go for that. And I'm like, all right. And then I said, I want to do kind of a different perspective because I knew that Goth Solus, he had his Black Fleet, and he had a lot of people that went over to him. And because they did not like how the Republic was going. So I said, let me do a story. Spoilers from here on out, okay? The book's been out for 6 months. The audiobook. I'm hoping you've heard it by now. So I said, let me do a story where you have someone who believes in the Republic but ends up going to Goth Solus. And let me kind of chart how this character can go from being a true believer to being, I'm going to burn this house down. So, okay, so they said, "Yeah, go for it." All right, so, and I came up with Soren, who was the agent, and then I went to Nick and Jason and said, "Okay, here's the time frame where I want to set it." They said, "Okay, fine." And then I said, "Can I use this character and do this?" Like, yes. Can I use all these other characters? Kind of go in here. Yeah, sure, go for it because we're not doing anything else with them. Just don't kill this guy. Use them later. So they gave me a ton of leeway, and there was really no time where Nick and Jason came down and said, that's not canon, don't do that. So I'm like, okay. So it was good that I picked a certain kind of a place in the story where I could go and tell that kind of story I wanted to, that arc of I'm a believer to this is it, I'm getting we burn this house down. So it was it flowed really well, and I was glad that the story came out the way it did. So
it was tight. It was tight. The for a second there though, I was like, damn, Richard's gone all George R.R. Martin on this because in the beginning of the book, he's got that partner, and I was
Mhm.
like, wow, she's forced into servitude with Nether Ops because of her past. He's trying to make her feel comfortable, but at the same time still maintaining enough control over her leash. And all of a sudden, boom, gone. I'm like, son of a bitch.
yeah, I'm with you on that one, Walt, because I was sitting there listening to it. And I'm like, oh, they kind of got a partnership going on. It's going to be a neat little. Oh, shit. oh, okay. I mean,
I was like, first Ned Stark, now this. What the shit?
So you gotta keep it interesting to a little bit. I mean, you think, oh, here's the buddy cop dynamic. No, there's no buddy cop dynamic. And because if Soren didn't have somebody in his ear going, this is a bad idea, then there's nobody going, this is a bad idea. So it's a little how he goes a little darker, a little faster, makes more sense.
I thought
the droid does that really well.
What's that?
Oh yeah, I love the droid. I love that one joke I put in there where the droid gets a new chip and it's like, excuse me, sir, can you tell me what the other droid did? And
I really liked that although I was just like, oh, I liked her, right, and had to do the whiny 15-year-old for about 30 seconds. I could also appreciate the choice in that character falling when she did, because it showed the kind of stakes that he was dealing with and how dangerous. Like one wrong step and you're just going to have a bad day on the farm.
Yeah, and also it kind of put Soren really on edge. He's like, "Hey, I'm supposed to trust these officers. I'm supposed to go meet. They murder my buddy. They shoot me up, and then so it was kind of done to make Soren a little more isolated during the course of the story."
Right on. Was there any particular event or series of events, or maybe possibly some other fiction that you read that gave you the ideas that flowed and eventually became Through the Nether?
If you are familiar with British author by the name of Dan Abnett, he writes a lot of Warhammer 40K.
I'm actually talking to him next week.
Oh,
you want in on that show?
We'll talk.
I got you.
No, he wrote 3 books called the Eisenhorn trilogy, and the Eisenhorn books, I don't tell people this enough, but it is the absolute best character arc I have ever read. Ever. Just how Eisenhorn starts that series and how Eisenhorn ends that series. And I actually got Dan Abnett to sign his. I met him at a game day 15 years ago. So that like, okay, so Dan Abnett could do this with that kind of character. All right, and he did it over 3 books brilliantly, and then I got 1 book to kind of do a similar arc. Well, all right, let me take a shot at it. So it was so knowing that you can have a character arc that goes from good to bad, it works. So knowing that reading Dan Abnett and reading Eisenhorn, minor spoiler, and how that ends out, like, okay, it's okay to do that kind of a story. So let me try it too.
Right on.
So how much did your story change? So in case you guys didn't know, when they contacted all of us about this Order of the Centurion series, it was like 2017, and they came out early 2019. So obviously there was some lag time. How much did your story change from what you originally envisioned to now there's 9 books out by the time we published?
I think I made a good decision in deciding to set the story early in the series. So that way I wasn't like thinking, okay, I got this idea, I'm going to put it like towards the end of the arc that they told me. And then they have like 3 books come out that change everything in the arc. So I decided I'm going to do something that's already established, right in the seams of the books. So that way I don't have to worry about them making an editorial decision later on that it just wrecks whatever I had in mind. So.
If I remember right, didn't you say, JR, that your book got a little bit of the loving touch from Nick and Jason a couple times?
So they split up. All of us got assigned. Some of them got Nick. Some of them got Jason. So I don't know who Richard worked with, but I worked with Jason. I mean, I knew Nick was there eating donuts somewhere, but I didn't actually talk to him through the process.
What the hell?
Yeah, I mean, it was mostly with Jason, but then at the end of the book, Soren has a scene with Goss Solos, and I said, just have Nick write that. He'll do it for. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Goth Solace scene at the end was chilling because
Yeah, that was all Nick Cole right there.
because I mean having seen how he was in the books that were out up to that point. I believe when Through the Nether came out, the last book in the series hadn't come out yet. Well, excuse me, the Insiders had gotten Through the Nether. It hadn't come out yet, but the last book hadn't come out yet. But even still, we'd had enough of Goth Solace to know that Soren was going to have an oh shit moment because it was going to be very like, oh god, is he going to make it through this? So yeah, very, very, very cool stuff. When you were creating and crafting that character arc, did you have like dedicated points that you needed to hit in order to make it believable for him to kind of go that way, or was it let's whip this dog until he turns around and bites us?
It was kind of both, because I knew like the last scene was going to be him turning himself over to Solace. I knew that was the last scene. I knew he starts off the series as a true believer. I'm like, okay, all right, so I was like, okay, what do I have to take away from this character where he stops believing? All right, I take away his partner. His handler is a douche and tries to kill him, and then Dark Ops tries to kill him. Black Ops and Nether Ops also tries to kill him, and then his freaking robot turns on him. So he's like all the way along, he's trying to do the right thing all the time, but the system and the Republic keeps kicking him right in the jimmy every time he's trying to do the right thing. And then at the end, he goes to like the one guy he knows he can trust is this senator from his planet. He goes there. He thinks he saved his life, and then this other senator turns right around and has him shot right in front of him. And it's just like, after a while, there's limits for everyone. And so I had Soren. I put him up against every single challenge that he could go through, and then he just looked around and said, "This is not worth it. This is all wrong. It's a dumpster fire. Surprise, surprise." And you know what? I'm going to walk away from it or I'm going to throw gasoline on it and get rid of this damn thing instead of trying to put it out.
I also think it was partly, all right, that's it. I tried. I put my effort in. I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop peeing on the fire to put it out. I'm just going to throw the gasoline on and finish the job. Yeah, that was very cool for at the end. Does anybody else have any questions for Richard that they'd like to throw in before we optimize all the spotlight?
There was one from Discord that was repeated multiple times. It was, can we expect a second Through the Nether?
Well, all right. So my intention with Soren was to give Nick and Jason a bad guy character that they could, like a boogeyman who's a spy who could show up later. And he may not have been Soren right away, but later on you can find out, oh, his real name is Soren. Then everyone can go, oh, that's his backstory. So it was kind of like that was the intent. So if there's a Through the Nether 2, I would like to do Soren. But then it's like, when does it happen? And then how do I fit Soren in? And because it's like I wouldn't want him to be just like doing backstory stuff, because when you have like a prequel, there's not a lot of tension. Like if you have Soren doing spy guy stuff for Goth Solace when he takes over the Republic, it's kind of like we know how it ends. So it's like he's going after a target, and people can go, that guy never shows up in another book. You must get it. So it's like, okay, and then or that guy shows up in another book alive, so he doesn't get him. So that's kind of the problem with sequels, is that you don't exactly know where, or prequels, excuse me. It's hard to keep that tension up. It really is. So that's the hard part. So now if writings for more Galaxy's Edge, I'd be up for it. And it comes down to my schedule. It comes down to what Nick and Jason want. And because I tell you, writing with them, easy. It was real simple. Here, guys, I want to do this. Go for it, Richard. All right. Can I do this to her? Yes, go for it. Okay. What about this? Yeah. Okay, fine. So it was easy. It was fun.
I can just picture this whole exchange of like they're in the kitchen cooking, and you keep yelling down the hallway. Just barely in the frame is like various power tools or like sledgehammers, various serial killer implements, and you're just like, "Can I kneecap this one? No, knees stay. I got another thing. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Yeah, funny story. I was in Whole Foods. I was on the phone with one of my co-writers. I'm sorry, my brain's is Josh Hayes. So on the phone with Josh Hayes. We're talking about a book that we're doing together. Josh Hayes, he's really too. And I'm on the phone. We're talking about this character, and I'm like, no, hold on the phone. No, we don't kill him. No, we need him for life or later. I'm talking about a character. I walk around Whole Foods talking about killing people, and I'm getting blood. So I'm like, shit. Yeah, you gotta be careful when you're talking about these kind of things around normies. They don't.
Is that like you have to, when you go into some place where you know you're going to get a phone call? You're like kind of like Nathan Fillion's character in Castle. You put on the body armor with the patch on it that says writer.
I think that people. I live in Vegas, so people might think I work for family or something. And then just leave me alone because we have rules in Vegas. So.
You got that one guy who wanted to ask you for $1. Hey man, give me $1, and instead you're like, no, leave him alive. Kill the other guy. I'll ask somebody else for $1. It's fine. Did any of your time in military intelligence inform some of the story or narrative through the Nether?
A lot of it, it's more. So like the specifics I learned in the military intelligence don't really fit with Galaxy's Edge, but however, there's field craft of how you do messages. Like if you read or listen to Through the Nether, you know that they start passing messages to each other through this one website, and how they do that is called steganography, where you have a message. Like let's say you put up a picture somewhere, but within the metadata is a file. That if you're just looking at a picture, you think it's a cat, and you just laugh at it. But you pull down you download the picture, you run it through your own decryption program. Oh, and there's a message that somebody wants to give you. So you have a lot of that in Through the Nether, that kind of real basic elementary fieldcraft. And also we were talking about it, and then we did not exactly remember who wrote which ones. So a lot of times I'll tell people like, all the dick jokes you laughed at, I wrote. The ones you thought were like, that's too far, that was Jason. He says the exact same thing about me. So
something tells me that a lot of authors push all of the like, nope, it was Jason, or it was Nick. So with some of the with the book and its subject being what it is, did you have to say? Were there any points where you looked at your military experience and said, "This is totally not how we would do it, but it makes for a great scene"?
There was a couple times where he landed out in the middle of freaking nowhere because he was told to. If you're a paranoid spy guy, you're like, no, you're gonna whack me. He's like, I want witnesses. I want you to, if you're gonna send a team after me, I want you to hesitate.
Screw this, we're waiting at Starbucks.
Yeah. And then later on in the course of that book, he thinks, oh, I'm in a city. I'm fine now. No, he was not fine. So that that was the kind of thing. Like I wouldn't do that. However, for the course of the story, let's have it happen. So.
I had a real at the end of the book, because of the way things happened and because of the way soldiers were, the rioters / anarchists, the way that these guys were all coming into the city, I had a real Benghazi vibe. To the end of the story. Did any of that figure into when you were crafting?
We got to think of how do you get people in somewhere? And how many of you saw Ad Astra?
Oh yeah,
mate. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a point. Okay, this isn't really spoiling anything. There's a point in the story where they say, "Hey, Brad Pitt, you need to get to the moon and then get your ass to Mars." And they said, "You need to go undercover. We don't want anyone to know that you are going to the moon because then people will figure out it's your dad is the issue here. So we're gonna put you on civilian transport and send you to the moon." And then they proceed to put him on civilian transport in his fucking uniform with his name tape, saying his name. He's like a judge. He's literally wearing a giant sign saying, "I am Major So and So, and I'm going to the moon." And I was like, "Fuck," I would, MI triggers go off right there. Yeah, and I'm like, okay, all right. So for me, like, okay, how do you get a cell into a city? Well, you don't send them in with labels. You want to be as normal and as inconspicuous as possible. So what do? You show up and you're a low-level worker. You're one of the other tens of millions of people in the city. You don't do anything to attract attention to yourself. You keep a low profile, and then you just stare and you wait. And then what happened? Soren shows up with its giant box full of guns, and then we're like, "Game on, guys! Put your stuff up." So, it's, that's more of like, this is how a military intelligence break people would do it. And you just move your people in beforehand. It's called a sleeper cell for a reason, because they're kind of sleeping, and then they wait for the trigger to go. So
they actually did an experiment, a social experiment, where they discreetly filmed it, and they found if you just wear overalls that look like a construction worker and you carry a ladder, you can get in anywhere, because they just assume you're supposed to be there.
Or a clipboard.
I've seen
Yes.
that one.
Yes.
Yep.
You can go to any concert with a mate and a ladder and just walk along, and then they'll be like, "Oh, they're obviously gonna go fix some stage lighting or something like that."
And mate, as logistics in the Air Force, I can tell you right now, if you have a clipboard with a high-vis vest, no fucker is going to disturb you whatsoever. That's how you skate.
I am going to make a T-shirt that says "No fuckery will disturb you." That is brilliant. But yeah, I can attest to the clipboard thing. I think it was back when I was in a military police unit, and it was a low tempo day, and the sergeant walks up, he goes, "Here, take this before somebody sees you," and he hands me a clipboard. I'm like, "What the hell is this?" He's like, "Oh, so that way nobody asks you to do anything." I'm like, "Dude, I got soldiers to train. You handle the clipboard." But yeah, he walked around all day, clipboard in his hand. Nobody said anything to him. I'm like, what a dick.
and being let me teach you an officer trick, because I got up to 04 in the Army. If you don't want anyone to bother you, what you do is you get a cup of coffee, put it on your desk, and you get a spare hat. You put it on your desk. You walk away and you go do whatever errands you need to. Because anyone comes to your desk, they're going to look like, "Oh, his coffee and his hat's here. He must be back in a minute." And they keep coming back. "Oh, he'll be back in a minute. Look at coffee." Not that I've ever done that trick.
Jesus.
Next week.
Oh my God! I can do
What?
this.
No, everything? No. We always have our own tricks.
Oh my God, that's brilliant.
I might try that next week. There'll be at this safety senior NCO that comes out of my warehouse all the fucking time. And yeah, I just have to try and escape from this person. And yeah, you can tell I'm agitated by it. I might have to try that hat trick.
And the coffee. You need the coffee too.
All right, so before this happens, Matt, you need to get one of those little tiny like webcams that you can hide in things and film this shit, and we will broadcast it. That will be amazing. Just make sure it's nothing classified.
Oh, no. My warehouse is spick and span. There's no OPSEC breaches anywhere in that baby.
Give me 5 minutes. So, Richard, what's on the horizon for you as far as writing? I mean, obviously a lot of us were introduced to you through Ember Wars, and then we had a special plus-up for that when you worked with John Delarose to create a comic of the whole thing, which I have. It's brilliant.
Oh, great.
What's on the horizon?
All right, I just finished. I'll be in the Exile Fleet book 4. It's called Point of Honor. I'll be out later this month, and then I'm doing edits on a sequel to my book called The Queen of Sidonia, which is meant for the young adult kind of audience. It's still a good book. But anyway, all right, moving on. Then I'm going to be working on a book with David Weber. We're going to do prequels to his In Fury Born IP, and those books came out I think in the 90s. It's been a while. And so we're doing how Emperor Terrence Murphy becomes Emperor Terrence Murphy. So that's those. David doesn't do small books, so it is going to be a lot of work. I'm looking forward to that. And then after that, I'm going to be doing 3 books, which the best way that I can explain it is 1980s V meets Avatar, but the humans are the lizard people.
Oh my God, that's brilliant.
That's hard. That's a lot to unpack right there. But when you read it, it's like, oh, okay, I get it. Yeah, they are the lizard people. Okay, and so I'm doing 3 of those books, and then after that, I will go and do the Fall of Earth, which is an Ember War story. If you read the Ember War, in the first book, the Earth doesn't do too well when the Zorros show up. So I'm going to do the story of the Zorro showing up and it not going well for him. So it's not going to be a happy book, but it's and what I'm trying to do is I want to incorporate as many of my readers as I can to be red shirts and just be massacred by the Zorros during the course of this. So it's it might be difficult, but everyone dies, so it's fun. And then after that, I'm going to do Emperor Wars Volume 3, which is it's called the Ibarra Crusade right now. So, and how that starts, I think, is going to surprise a lot of people. And when they read that first book, they're going to be going, "What?" At least that's the intention. So I just had to deliver that twist for everybody.
You need at least one scene where the Zorros get there and they're destroying some bunker and some redneck's last words. But this was supposed to protect me from the end. All those doomsday preppers out there who are just gonna be like, it was all for nothing. They should have drunk another beer.
Oh,
I would like.
Go ahead.
I would like to throw Ingram Matt, aka Matt, under the bus right now.
Of course you would, mate.
So Matt,
Already died in one book.
Of all the shirts to wear tonight, you don't wear the Richard Fox shirt that I sent you from America.
Oh yeah, it's in laundry, mate. They're all getting washed. Like,
which shirt?
Yeah,
which shirt do you have?
I got some red shirt ones. Just.
The red shirt. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And couldn't send to Australia, mate. So I was like, I need to find someone. And then I hit up Dan and went, yep, bad.
So he smuggled you in an illegal shirt so you could experience your fandom for everybody to see?
I do. I just haven't done it for a while on stream. I've got shirts for like everything. I've probably got like 400 or 500 shirts and probably like 10 pairs of pants. It's better. Pants are overrated in general, mate.
Ladies and gentlemen, that sound you hear is the sound of Matt digging. So I'm kind of curious, Richard, because I enjoy your books. I really enjoyed Ember War. What are some of the things that you like to read? Because I mean, like some of the authors I've asked this question, I've gotten some really, really weird responses. One guy who like we were just talking. It wasn't in a format like this, and I said, well, "What kind of stuff do you read?" And he didn't want to answer me at first. And then, I asked the question a couple times. He's like, "All right, so you're going to be annoying about this? Fine." He's like, "I like cozy mysteries," and I'm like, "What?" And 2 scenes earlier, you're blowing off a guy's leg with a mortar, and you're talking about an EFP taking out somebody, and I'm just like, a cozy mystery? Hey, man, I'm not going to be late. I'm not going to berate somebody's fun. What do you like?
Most of my reading, it tends to be craft stuff. I know this sounds boring. Like, I love books about the hero's journey. So I like anytime anyone's got a variation of the hero's journey, I'm getting that. And even though I love reading books about that sort of that style of storytelling, I have yet to actually do one that I've sat down, plotted out. This is the hero's journey, A to Z. So, but I've got one planned. And then when it comes to fiction reading, I love Warhammer 40K. Give me that Grimdark, and I'm just I'm loving the Horus Heresy. And boy, I tell you what, you want to talk about a good initial hook. You read the very first Horus Heresy novel, which came out like 10 years ago. And the first line is like, "I was there when Horus slew the Emperor," and everyone's like, "I was like, what?" It was a Dan Abnett book, by the way.
Brilliant.
And
yep.
So yeah, brilliant. It's like, well, I'm in. With that line right there, like I'm here for the whole thing. It's kind of like when you watch the first episode of Breaking Bad. You see the guy in the gas mask driving the hook, and the pants go crazy. And I'm like, "Yep, I'm here. All right, I ain't going nowhere. I'm watching this show." So yeah, but yeah, give me craft books and Warhammer 40K.
That's fantastic. I'm gonna let, like I said, when I speak to Dan next week, we're gonna play clips of this. It's gonna be fantastic.
Don't you read history stuff too?
I do. I mean, I was a military history major in college, and I've been doing a lot of World War I reading right now. So
that was brutal stuff.
Yeah, and it's if you guys haven't had Jonathan Brzee on yet, you might. Well, I don't think he writes anything for Galaxy's Edge, but he and I are going to do a little dueling narrative story where I have one main character, he has his other, and we're on opposite sides of a fight, and it's just the story's going to switch from his side to my side, and he's writing, he's writing his voice 100%. I'm going to write my stuff in my voice 100%, and I'm sure something like that has been done in the past, but I can't think of anything like that recently. So I'm real excited to do that with him because Jonathan Brizzi went to the second best service academy out there. See, the Army guys get it. Yeah. And I went to the best, even though I barely graduated. But so he's a former Marine commander, colonel. I was a artillery guy, intelligence guy. So I was like, I think this is like a good. We're gonna create something really special when I sit down and do this with him.
When that drops, can for one of our other shows, can we have you guys on to talk about that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think we're gonna plot it out this month, and I think we should have that out in February is a plan right now. He has twin baby girls right now, so I don't try to put too much on it. Busy man. I got 3 boys. They're years apart. I'm like, dude, 2 twins at once. Forget it.
It kind of sounds like you're going the same approach as they did for the movie Tora, where they had the Japanese director do his entire side, and then the American director did their entire side.
I didn't know Tora was done like that. Okay.
Yeah, it's a great movie if you haven't seen it.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Dan. Cutting you off, mate.
It's okay.
Flags of Our Fathers and Letters from Iwo Jima, it's somewhat like that, where it's done from 2 different perspectives, but I mean same director, but it's somewhat similar. Like they both interlace with each other. They were good movies too, by the way.
Oh yeah, Clint Eastwood directed that, didn't
he? Yeah.
A book that sounds similar to what you're trying to do is Space Force. It's probably a different time frame.
Mm-hmm.
Just a second, I'll pull up who it's by.
You said Space Force?
Yes.
That's a comedy, isn't it?
Yes, it is by Jeremy Robinson. It's a comedy, but you have the dueling perspective. You have 2 people on the same side, but you see the same scenario through 2 different sets of eyes.
Yeah. So it's that'll be fun to do. So, but I think there's gonna be a little bit of a D&D aspect where he said my character does this, and I'm like, mine does this. I'm like, mine does this. It's yeah. So I used to be an intelligence officer. When you're doing an op war, if you're doing your war game, it's generally your S2 versus your S3, and the S3 always wins because the S3 always outranks the S2. So I'm kind of used to doing this, and then he's used to doing it too. He was quite the commander. So.
Right on, and he's got that that series about the pilots, the Fire Ant, and all that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to that one, but that's on my to read list. So
that was a Hugo finalist too. One of his stories.
Yep.
Right.
Or Nebula. I don't think it's Hugo.
They get all confused in the head. I don't know which.
Back to blasters. So before we call this a show, how about parting thoughts, starting with JR, who's been kind of quiet?
I didn't want to steal the limelight because Richard doesn't get out of his cave very often, so I was trying to be nice. But I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens if he does a book too. So peer pressure is a thing, and I'm looking at you, Jason.
Right on. Cozy, hit it.
Looking forward to the 2nd season. I've not started Ember War, but now I really need to. Looking it up, it looks great.
Enjoy.
Luke Daniels narrates, does an amazing job.
And you had mentioned X-Force earlier, so if you are a man of style and substance and enjoy comics, the comics are also very well done. So I highly recommend those as well. So yeah, definitely, because Ember War is tight. That's science.
So
go ahead.
The graphic novel for Ember Wars, can you still get that even though the Kickstarter closed?
I have a shipment on the way right now, and as soon as they hit my house, I'm going to put them on my store. It's on my website, emberwar.com. It's hard to figure out, and you'll be able to order them through there. So not next week, because next week is 20 books, and that's insane. But likely the week after that, people will be able to get hardbacks from the Ember War comic.
So easy a sailor could do it. Emberwars.com.
Oh God! Next thing you know, Jonathan Brazy is gonna get on our backs to come on the show and answer all these squid quips. Um, Matt, what do you got for us? Product thoughts?
Uh, more Ember War, mate. Please, more Ember War. I
Okay,
love
all
it.
right.
I fucking love it.
It's
Yeah.
you're
Just,
gonna
what's that?
go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was, yeah, I cut people off. I'm very rude like that. I am sorry.
Have you read?
Yeah,
Have
like,
you read Till Valhalla?
yeah, I was one of the blokes doing your
Oh, thank
your
God.
Australian
Okay.
military stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know your messages, but not your voice and face. So okay, thank you for helping me out there.
No, that's all right. I did seek some help out on the side from a couple of my other mates. One who's in Intel as well. Another one who is ex Special Forces. So he kind of gave us some feedback to help you out a bit. Yeah, look, last year like Alex's Edge, I actually read it on deployment. So Ember War, and yeah, there was a few times I just couldn't get back to work, so I was just reading so much. So definitely more, please.
All right.
So Ember War is the reason I have a new couch. So when I signed
Wait,
with
what?
Podium, Ember War is the reason I have a new couch. So when I signed with Podium, they give you like a gift or like a sample of their work to show what they can do. So they sent me The Martian because they directed it, and they sent me Richard Fox's to say, hey, we can work with veterans. And I listened to book 1 and 2, the publisher pack of Ember Wars, and I'm like, shit, I got to know what happens. So I went out and bought all of the audiobooks. I didn't know about Audible subscription. I paid full price for all of them. I slept on the couch for a week, and I said, screw this, I'm getting a new couch. And it's all his fault.
Oh my God! If that's not the best endorsement for not only Richard's books but also for Audible, I don't know what is. Other than the dog ate my MP3 player. Daniel, parting thoughts.
I'm like everybody else has said. I'm excited about season 2. I look forward to finally finishing the Madame Guillotine. I'm excited about when Savage Wars gets recorded and released because I want to hear Mr. Dips get fucking slayed. You know.
Of course you do. You've been hanging this for a while, mate. You just want to hear me get killed off.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't? You dirty nether ops. But because everybody's been talking about Ember War and Richard Fox's skill, I think I'm gonna pick up another series because I've gone through X4, I've gone through all the Audible Galaxy's Edge stuff, and I've pretty much tapped out all of the BV Larson stuff. So yeah.
James
Enjoy.
Miguel.
Enjoy.
Yeah, right on. The beginning of the Ember War books I thought was really cool. Like the way he gets the message and then it gets pushed through and stuff like that, and then years later, the construction and the building and now the mech suits, and very well done, very well crafted story. Excellent. And like I said, I got to live through it a second time. I didn't listen to it on audio, but I backed the Kickstarter for the comic, and just seeing those images, and I've been working with in and around comics decades, so to have that avenue as well was just spectacular. So yeah, please keep them coming because fantastic. We need this kind of imaginative storytelling. Ember War, Galaxy's Edge, because it not only does it fire imagination, it fires passion. And I know, like guys like myself, the whole reason we got into the military or, had these crazy adventures was because of these stories we had when we were younger. And like, they can do it, I can do it. Some farm boy on Tatooine can go and have adventures. Why can't I? So I mean, yeah. So those stories, fantastic. Please more. With that, I think we're going to call that a podcast. Thank you so much, Richard, for coming out and talking through the Nether. It's one of my favorites, just because it shows another perspective, and shows what happens when you push somebody too far. And
if you want to read the book on ebook, it'll be out on December 18th. Finally, so it's just been available for audio, unless you're a Galaxy Insider. But if you want it on your Kindle, December 18th, it'll be there.
December 18th. So go out, get it immediately, just in time for Christmas. Cozy, thanks for showing up and giving us a little insight into another one of the Galaxy's Edge fans, because without you guys, there's no Galaxy's Edge. And Nick and Jason have said that before, and they're very adamant about that. So thank you so much for coming out. We really appreciate it.
Glad to.
Right on. And with that, I'm popping smoke.